Okay, reflections part 2. Now, you're going to be asked in exam questions to reflect lines in a particular form using equations. So here, and let's see, go to the question and the amount of marks associated with the question. For 2 marks, reflect the rectangle in the line y is equal to x. Well, the line y is equal to x means when it means literally what it says, y is equal to x. So when x is 1, y is 1. So here's 1 point. When x is 2, y is 2. That's y is equal to x. When x is 3, y is 3. When x is 4, y is 4, and so on. So the mirror line, or the reflection line, is a line going through all of these points where y is equal to x. So this is our mirror line. It should be a dotted line really, but there you go, that's our mirror line. Now, again, similarly, I'm going to take a particular point. And let's, because I've drawn the mirror line in red, let's have perhaps a different shade of green this time. Okay, that should do it. Yeah, here, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, here's 1 point. Let's call that the point A. It's labeled A, and of course it will be reflected on the other side. So the point A will be here, and we'll call that A. And then the point B will be reflected alongside A. So where is it? Point B is actually 2 squares up and 1 squares across. So again, 2 squares up and 1 square across to the mirror line. So it's going to be, well, 2 squares up from point A. And this will be your new point B. Okay, or you could do it diagonally. It's 1.5 squares to the mirror line here, and 1.5 squares on the other side of the mirror line. Either or. What about point C? Well, point C, I'll go this way diagonally. 1 square to here, 2 squares to the mirror line, so I'll go 1 square and 2 squares. But geometrically, you should know that it's going to be alongside or adjacent to B, and that's the point C. Well, there's only 1 square left, and that's point D, or 1 point left, and that's point D, and that's just 1 square away from the mirror line. So 1 square away from the mirror line diagonally, and that's your point D. So the new shape, and it hasn't asked you to label it, but here is the reflection in the line, sorry, here is the reflection of A, B, C, D in the mirror line of y is equal to x. Remember, y is equal to x is a diagonal line where x equals 1, y equals 1, x equals 2, y is equal to 2, x is equal to 3, and y is equal to 3, and so on. And that's 2 marks. Let's move on to question 11, where, and now, here we go. They're asking you, reflect the triangle A in the line y is equal to negative x or minus x, and label the new triangle B. In the previous question, they never asked you to label the diagram, but nonetheless, you reflected the shape for 2 marks. So, excuse me. Let's have it's all real time. I'll edit that out later on, but in the meantime, let's draw the line of y is equal to minus x. Well, similarly, if y is equal to x, when x is 0, y is 0, when x is 1, y is 1, it's going to be similarly when x is 0, y is 0, and when x is negative 1, y is minus 1, and so on. So, here is our line. So here we go. Let's go from 0, 0, the origin. So when x is minus 1, y is 1. We should use a different color pen. Okay, again, let's keep our mirror line in red. When x is minus 2, y is 2. And when x is minus 3, y is 3. And that's enough points, and of course it goes to the origin. When x is minus 1, y is 1. When x is minus 2, y is 2, and so on. So we have a negatively sloped correlation, or a negatively sloped straight line going the other way and through the origin, and this becomes our new mirror line. Again, it should be a dotted line, but just because I'm not using a ruler, this is all freehand stuff because it's real time, and that's the mirror line. When x is negative 4, when x is 4, y is negative 4, and so on. There's the mirror line. Again, now we're going to take particular points. Well, here's our first point at 2 and 0, and it's on the line, so on the x-axis, and it's 1 square away from the mirror line, so it's going to be 1 square away from the mirror line. So here is our new point. And what about this point here? Well, it's 1, 2, 3 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares down, or if I go diagonally across, which I prefer, I go 1, 2, and I can go 1 and 2, which means that the new point is here. I find that easier than going the other way. And similarly, the last point, which is this one here, again, if I go diagonally to how many squares to the line? 1, 2, and 3, and I'll go 1, 2, and 3, and here is my final point. So our reflection in the mirror line of y is equal to negative x of shape A, the reflection is this, and I'm going to label it B. And again, that's for 2 marks. Pick your points. And finally, question 11. Here they're asking you to describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B for 2 marks. So triangle A, well, what are we doing? We're doing reflection as an exercise. So the word reflection must go in for the 2 marks. If you use the word reflection, normally that guarantees you a mark. There's no need to go off and write an essay. We don't want to do that. We want to keep it simple. And if it's a reflection, so we know it's a reflection, and I'll write in black, change the color, a reflection. So that's the key word, because that's the exercise. It's about reflecting shapes. So it's a reflection in what? Where is the mirror line now? We need to talk about where the mirror line is. Or so with a mirror line, of the x-axis, or in the mirror line, a reflection in the x-axis, or a reflection with a mirror line of the x-axis. The x-axis. And that's it for 2 marks. There's no need to go on and waste time and write extensively on this. Apologies for my writing. Hopefully it's clear. Reflection with a mirror line in the x-axis or of the x-axis. And that's it. That's good to go for your 2 marks. Oh, one more question I think we have time for without trying to bore you. Yeah, okay. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. Because here it's not clear, because we have to be careful here, because if you count the number of squares from triangle A, we've only got 2 squares to the y-axis, but 3 squares on the other side, which means that the mirror line is not the y-axis, and that's a common misconception. So where would you put the mirror line? How many squares from one shape A, to shape B? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 squares, which means the mirror line must go halfway between them. Well, 5 divided by 2, 5 squares divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. That means I've got to count 2.5 squares and then put the mirror line. So 1, 2.5. So that means my mirror line, let's do it in red, must be halfway between shape A and shape B. So that's at, here we go, and I'm doing a nice dotted mirror line here, at x is equal to, because it's a vertical line, remember vertical lines x equals, horizontal line y equals, and that's at the point of x is equal to a half, or 0.5. So that's your mirror line. And then if I'm going to describe the transformation, let's get the word right, I'm going to say translation there. If I'm going to describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B, let's be consistent. A reflection, because that's the activity, a reflection with, and I use the word with again as opposed to in, with a mirror line of the x-axis, and we know that it's 0.5, isn't it? So let's make sure we get it correct. My pen is stopped working. I don't know why. Okay, oh yeah, it's back again. Mirror line of, and I don't need to write there, of, yes, better, oops, and it's all real time, of x is equal to 0.5. 0.5. And that's it, a reflection with a mirror line of x equals 0.5. And that's good to go for 2 marks.